Hi, my name's Joe Richardson and I'm an artist and painter, and today I'm going to be talking to you about painted paper collages. Painted paper collages are a really easy and quick and fun activity you can do at home. So now we've finished painting, I've laid out all my colour swatches that I've made from what I read as light to dark, just to get a sense of what I've got, the kind of colour relationships, and now I'm going to start cutting out some shapes. So now I need to decide what I'm going to make. I'm going to make something that's a bit more abstract. I think I'm going to be a bit more loose with this, but if you wanted to make something that looked like something, this is where you could be like, okay, that's going to be my C. So I'm just going to take one of my pieces of paper and start cutting out shapes. So I'm going to move these out the way a little bit. And I'm going to grab a new piece of paper to sort of start to arrange my shapes. So I'm going to start cutting out my shapes, and I'm going to take inspiration from things around me. Matisse called this drawing with scissors. So instead of drawing with a pencil and kind of sketching out my shapes and then cutting them out, I'm going to remove that step of doing the drawing with the pencil, the pen, or whatever it is, and draw directly from what I'm seeing to what to the page. So it's like observational drawing in terms of cutting and collage. You can do this in different ways. If you've got a pre-prepared image, you might want to sketch them out as well, but I like to draw with the scissors. So I'm going to start cutting out some shapes. So there's this kind of rounded square kind of light that's in front of me as I'm filming this, and I'm just going to cut this shape out of. I've got a kind of weird rounded shape, so I'm just going to drop that there. I've also got, there's a kind of weird sort of seating thing over there. It's kind of like a curvy sort of thing, so I'm going to use my yellow, and I'm sort of going a bit off grid now with, I'm starting to just make up the colours as I go along. But it's a kind of strange shape, so I'm going to try to, this kind of weird, kind of curvy sort of, so I've got these two kind of curvy shapes. So I feel like I need, the floor's quite grey in here, so I'm gonna go with my kind of darkish grey colour, and just might cut that at a kind of nice angle, but a bit more straight maybe. You'll start to see, you kind of get these kind of rough edges. You know, you can do this with a knife as well if you want something a bit firmer, but depending on the paper you use, you're going to get different kind of edges. So there's something there. And I'm starting to just drop things on and play. There's a collage artist called Gene Arp, and he would literally take his papers and just kind of drop things on, things like that, and you get these different compositions. So that's one way you can do it. But another way you can start to kind of arrange things and see what spatial relationships of things you want come in above, beyond. I mean, this is just with 3 pieces of paper, and I'm already starting to get kind of different shapes and images. I feel like I want like a nice strip down here, so I've got a kind of more rectangular shape down here, which just projects in a lot of light. So I'm going to go with this kind of more lighter blue, and I'm going to cut that in the kind of shape that I can see. So it's very quick process. You know, you could be a lot more, you could spend a lot more time on that, cutting out your shapes. So I've got these 4, I'm going to go get my 5th shape as well, so I've got my 5 colours that I've used. And I feel like I want something that's got a bit more of a kind of a line, so there's a wire here on this camera. So I'm going to cut something out that's a bit more of a kind of squiggly line. So I'm trying to get a range of shapes, so each colour, you could have each colour as different sort of type of line, a different type of shape, so they're kind of describing different things. Or you could repeat, so I could repeat this colour, I could repeat this in a different colour, so I can, playing around here, so if I wanted that same shape, I could kind of cut around that. So you have these kind of repeating patterns. Again, it's not exactly the same, but I'm just playing with the process. I'm just going with my ideas here. I'm not thinking about it too much as I'm making something quite abstract. Just drop that there. So now I've got a kind of grey and a pink there, which can kind of have a relationship. So I'm trying to keep my paper spread out so I can still see them as I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm going to go back to this line. This paper's a little bit wet, so I might actually rip this. Just try and get a different kind of effect. And I can rip up like that, so I'll get the edge stays soft, so the edge stays hard, but if I rip away, I kind of get this kind of white edge. So I'm going to try different, this is still quite wet. But if I rip away, I get these nice kind of frayed edges, so it depends what you want, a kind of harder edge or a sort of more sort of rough edge. So I've got my 5 pieces here. I'm going to leave this grey for now. And I'm just going to start to arrange these on the page. So I haven't got a plan here. I'm completely improvising. So this is quite rough. I want to see if I can. I'm going to cut another piece of this pink because I quite like the idea of having a stripe over that bit of pink, that bit of blue. So I've taken my picture, so I've got that to kind of come back to. So this is where I need my glue stick. So I'm going to start to carefully take them apart and glue the back side of these down. The other nice thing about doing collage is that even though it's quite a flat process, you'll sort of it becomes a bit more sculptural, I think. So what I mean by that is, whereas painting is usually kind of a watery kind of substance, something liquid going into a page or into a canvas. With collage, you're kind of building something up. So as you can see, these bits of paper are kind of curving up. You're going to end up with a lot of debris, a lot of other pieces. So I'm going to try another collage in the style of sheen art. You can generate a lot of material from just 5 sheets of paper. 5 sheets of painted paper. You can start because you've got all these different colours, shapes that you can play with. And then what you can do from these is you can turn these into paintings if you want. You can use these as reference for making new paintings. So I've got all these little strips now that I've got there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover my page in glue. So rather than gluing the backs of, arranging my paper before and then gluing them after, I'm going to glue the piece of paper, and I'm actually just going to drop things. So I'm just going to try and pick them up blindly. And this is introducing chance. So I might not like how things look, so I can adjust them. But I'm just going to start dropping things on, sticking them down, and I'm going to see what kind of results I get. So there you go, 2 very different results. One slightly more composed and kind of organised based on observation. The other kind of more left to chance. So I was experimenting and I started to intervene later. You can do so much between this. You could get really more involved and kind of make a face and spend a lot of time on it, ripping all these different shades of the face. Or you can really build this up to have lots of layers, and you can make them really big, really small, play around with scale, play around with colour. But these are a starting point with painted paper collages. Thank you so much for listening and taking part in the UAL Short Courses Art Club. We would love to see what you've made on all our social medias. You can tag us at UAL Short Courses. There's lots of other videos on our YouTube channels for you to check out by fantastic practitioners like Grusha and Renee. So please do go and check those out. And also, if you're interested in these shorter videos, we run some longer courses at UAL Short Courses in a whole range of subjects that we would absolutely love to see you come and work with us, come and study with us. So thank you for listening and happy making.